As a result, as far as the amusement park this amusement park is concerned, that this is even much more larger compared to how it does in Dr. Eggman Build Up, which is usually a tropical resort. So anyways, hey everybody, this is me, Sylvester here, and I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here. We are back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World for the Nintendo Wii U. So last time we managed to explore for World Castle, aka World 7, and now we're going to continue on and move on to World Bowser, aka the final main world of the game, World 8. So even then, we're actually going to be exploring 8 worlds, just like how it does in Super Mario 3D Land. So, except the fact that in the 7th and the 8th worlds are entirely in a different symbol. So, anyway, so let's get things started with the likes of World Bowser -1, Spiny Spike Bridge. So even then, we'll go for let's go for Mario for this level. So we always go for Mario in the first set of few levels in each world. So even then, that we can figure this out. So anyway, so as far as this level of gimmicks goes, is the fact that we need to come across into those spiky bridges and what have you. So everything should be more than doubtful anyway. So anyway though, so. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that last time we did manage to finish off with World Castles, and even then though, that despite the fact that we did missed out quite a lot of green stars and what have you, most notably in these power-up requirements, which, you know, the burrowing power-up and especially noticeable in a cat suit. So, yeah, it should be pretty worthwhile. So, yeah, so anyway. And also that we tend to die quite a lot in World Castle due to the level gimmick-wise, and as well as too much instant deaths and what have you, or in this case, an instant death situations. So I was really hoping that we don't come across into too many instant death moments here and there. So, well, at least there's only 2 instant death moments in World Castle. So aside from you know, level Castle, that we accidentally did die by this little spiky you know, stuff. So, anyway though, look at all the rainy textures as far as you can see on screen. It's probably the best looking rain effects in the entirety of the Wii U game at the moment. Which, it'll probably do the exact same thing from Super Mario Odyssey from the Nintendo Switch. So even then though, it'll be twice as gorgeous as far as it used to be. So, hopefully we can guarantee by that. So anyways. Now I believe the majority of some of the green stars, well besides the level stand, which only requires us to actually go to the opposite side that we need to go into, but for the most part the first 2 green stars only requires us to use the cat suit power-up, whilst in the 3rd green star, I believe it doesn't require us to use the cat suit power-up until we actually get into the next set of couple of levels ahead. Then we'll actually discuss more details until we get into that particular level that will require us to use the cat suit. We could ultimately trying to actually go for the shortcut while actually completely ignore the warp blocks, or in this case the warp box and all that stuff, or in this case the warp block. But a lot of the time that you can't actually try to actually qualify to use the cat suit in order to actually skip that particular teleporting sequences. So, but anyway though, so for the most part this level is not too tricky or difficult or anything like that. So it's just a matter of trying to dodge a lot of these pop-out spike stuff. So even then though, that would be far from potential, but hey. Okay, we can't be bothered to actually just to go up to the staircase because obviously since we got ourselves a cat suit with us, then we were able to get out to our golden flagpole just in time. So anyway though, a few things I want to mention about this is the fact that I'm assuming we're almost nearly towards the end of September already, which even then though, that yeah. And, you never heard the fact that, I'm presuming that some other toys already mentioned this before, that Samus, you know, Metroid Samus Returns for the Nintendo 3DS, they've managed to release on that, particularly in the 15th of September. They also did manage to reveal their new Nintendo 3DS XL skin of Samus Returns, and also some applies to the amiibo functionality as well. Even though I had to admit though, is the fact that, very similar to the ones in, still, I had to complain about the amiibos. System or what have you, but even then though, as far as at this point, that the amiibos themselves are a little bit more harder to find now, because even then though, that, I don't know what to think about it. So, anyways, let's go ahead and grind for, just only 1 extra life in this slot machine game. Even though there's actually a trick to this, but unfortunately though, that, since we haven't played this game from time to time, this makes it a lot of, confusion's sake for actually just trying to actually get these, a whole bunch of extra lives, so. But even then though, that since we play this game from time to time, even for a long amount of time, that we don't know exactly how to perform that trick very well. So, World Bowser Dash 2, Pussies, Dawn, or Dawn, you know, downhill. So in this case, we're actually going to come across into this little slide sequence, much like how it does in the first world, and even especially noticeable at the very end of World 5, on World 5-1, and it forms up seaside, you know, the sunshine seaside. Even though I do apologize for the lack of dialogue or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen, because there's not much else I can really talk about these news-related stuff. So I digress. So it's a bit like how it does in World 1, and especially noticeable in World 5, except a little bit more tricky and difficult, because as you can tell, there's going to be a lot of sharp curves and anything like that. Thankfully, though, you don't have to replay this level again until you actually decide to realize that we actually got ourselves the level stamp and all that stuff. And the third and final green star, you have to simply just knock out the Bowser statue, and until you do that, then the green star actually pops up. And since then, since we're going to be using Luigi in this level, so hopefully we can actually select Luigi again and during at the train level of any kind. Even then, though, that spoiler alert, it will actually just be happening. So, yeah, as far as this point, that this might actually be we might want to do this particular video for just for today, and hopefully that definitely will actually come back into Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, because you know you're expecting for a lot of waiting, patience, and all that stuff. So even then, though, that hopefully you guys should be able to wait patiently enough until when Sonic 06 Let's Play continuing kinds of stuff should able to happen. For the level stamp on this particular level is the forms of, well, the question mark block. I believe as far as World Bowser is concerned, this is easily the longest world in the entire game, because there's going to be too many emphasis on too many levels, in addition to these upcoming events we're about to be hopefully trying to come across. So even then, we can actually discuss more details onto that and during later on. So anyways, now we move on to World Bowser Dash 3, Cookie Clockworks. And for this level, we'll go for Princess Peach, because even then, though, that's, yeah. I believe last time we actually did play as Peach, and now it's the forms of level, Castle Dash 7, because of, oh god, come on! Oh, phew, it's really close. Yeah, we almost attempted to fall off there, Sylvester. Yeah, I know that, right? I pretty much noticed one more to Delta, though. Finally, sucker tart. Yeah, I know that, right? Anyway, so the first green star is pretty obvious, is that we need to actually just, either long jump or simply just use Princess Peach's floating ability to actually obtain that green star. And the second green star is actually requires us to use any power-up, well, at least two power-ups, which was specifically the Cat Bell power-up, as you guys can probably tell. Or if you manage to come across into a Boomerang Flower, then you would able to take down those enemies, which you'll see why in just a moment. Which hopefully that we can actually dodge every single part of it. So yeah, these little ant enemies. So even though that first thing before we actually move on, yeah, there's a Boomerang Flower right there. I think I might as well start to obtain the Boomerang Flower and what have you, just in case if we actually decide to save the Cat Bell before we actually get on to the next couple of levels. So hopefully we can guarantee by that. So let's grab the stub. And in the green star we have to do exactly the same thing, but except the fact that it's actually two sides this time. So it doesn't matter what side you're actually going to be taken down from, either left or right. So even then, that once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad or not too shabby either. So anyway, now let's go down here until we come across into our mystery box. And then here we need to actually go onto the right side of this particular roulette wheel until you grab until nab rather the green star. So that way it should be easy and good to go for this point. So anyway though. So for this level's concern, it's basically filled with a lot of cookies and what have you, act out as a cartwheels. So in this case, you know, corpse, as far as that's been concerned. But even then though, that, you know, it's really deliciously looking level as far as I can see, because, you know, tons of chocolates, cookies, creams, and everything. So, now obviously we're not going to touch the gold just yet, because there's actually the final green star we can actually obtain. And those two forms off down to this platform down there, which can be easily be reachable if you actually have long jump. And while doing so is the fact that you're able to actually chase down this rabbit over there, and I'm assuming he actually holds us to our green stars. So hopefully we can catch that as soon as we can. So even then, yeah, Jesus Christ, I'm having a really hard time catching this rabbit with Peach. It's a bit like Super Mario 64 all over again, or in this case, Super Mario 64 DS, or even Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. But I digress, so now we caught that, and now we can actually get ourselves a green star, and plus we can actually get ourselves a 100-second time limit. Because even then though, that sometimes you might as well actually spending most of your time on this level for quite a bit of altitude for a few moments. I forget what I said. So anyways, but again, there's not much else we can, talk about these news relatable stuff, but that's besides the point. So, anyway though, although besides the fact that we pretty much guarantee we're almost nearly towards the end of Super Mario 3D World, for that matter, but even then though, that we'll actually discuss more of the details of that soon if we actually finish up with this entirety of World Bowser first. So, anyways, that's it for Cookie Clockworks, and now we're going to be moving on to the train level of any kind. And for this level, or for that level, we're gonna have to go for Luigi, because he hasn't done any of the Bowser-type levels for quite a long time. So anyways, here we go, on to the Bowser Express. And for this level, we'll obviously switch to Luigi. Because, we haven't seen Luigi defeat as many bosses for quite a long time, so even then that we can figure out we can actually let him do with this level. So, much like how it does in World 3, train level is the fact that it's basically auto-scrolling sections, so even then though, that from the looks of the actual environment of this particular location, it does almost remind me of, almost related to the Mario Party 10 minigame called Bowser's Sinister Slots, which informs after how the fact that we can actually board on a train, and also in addition to the actual environment takes place in World Bowser in Super Mario 3D World. So, yeah, because of this though, that back in the New Super Mario Bros. Wii, that some of the elements in Mario Party 9 did heavily borrowed from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. And then in, I believe, Mario Party Island Tour is basically the exact same thing, except the fact they did heavily borrow some of the mechanics from the likes of Super Mario 3D Land. So, and also Mario Party 10 usually has some of these gimmick elements from the likes of this game here, Super Mario 3D World, in addition to New Super Mario Bros. U as well. So, as far as memories goes, that's all I can say about this. So, yeah, it does feel pretty substantial as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know anything else for that desirable for Mario Party Star Rush, because it does add some new stuff to the table, or in this case just add in some a lot of new obstacles and all that stuff, but I digress. Enough about this all kinds of stuff in Mario Party for the time being. But now we're going to be faced off against with Pon-Pon. It has been a while since we actually saw Pon-Pon, very much like how it does it in Boom Boom from World 6. So, but even then, it was better late than never since we actually saw her ever since in World 3. So, but this time around though, she actually cloned herself even a bit more this time, so even then this just makes this boss a little bit more harder than the likes of the previous counterparts. So, you should probably be familiar with this particular fight at this point. So, anyway, so that's it for that particular fight, and now let's go ahead and exit this out. And we should able to actually reach over to the, the golden flagpole onto the very top. At least I was hoping for that anyway. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So, anyway though, sometimes Luigi's physics can get a little bit more slippery at one point. Well, not exactly too slippery, I find, but I digress. Anyways, that's it for that level. And I'm assuming we're actually in the halfway point of World Bowser as far as I'm concerned with this. So even then though, that, as far as I've already established that earlier, is that this world is easily the longest world in the entire game, because, you see why in just a moment. So, anyway though, Blue Toad plus Cat Bell makes Cat Toad. Makes perfect sense for this little, subtraction, or in this case, the addition to it. Alright, so we come across into those two other levels, which we have the uniquest gimmick on that level, as well as the another water level. So, yeah, I don't suppose we actually come across into a lava-themed level anytime soon, but even then though, let's go ahead and go for World Bowser-4, Footlight Line. So, in this case, Footlight Lane. So, we'll go for Blue Toad. But again, I do apologize for how the fact that our dialogue has gone really messed up is probably because I'm really running out of ideas of this particular news discussion or what have you, so that's besides the point. So the gimmick on this level, as far as this level suggests, is the fact that we're going to be walking onto this little invisible platform, as you can probably clearly tell. But in order to actually see what the truth have actually laid out to be, we can either just do like a ground pound or any kind, or if you actually obtain the invincibility star like we actually got here, so that we can actually see what the entirety of the path can actually lead us to. So that's pretty cool for that little department, and also same applies to the Whomp or Thwomp as well. And in addition to the bullet bills especially too. So even then we can actually come across into those bullet bills which we get to later. So for the most part we still have to concentrate on this level for the time being. So hopefully we can actually just able to actually bypass any sort of parts to it. So in this part we need to actually collect you know, 8 green coins and what have you to get ourselves a green star obviously. I really love this music by the way, it's so relaxing and cheerful. But I digress. Enough about this all kinds of stuff. So yeah, the bullet bills do attempt to explode, and then basically those will also count up to light up the entirety of the path. So even then, that can be pretty recommendable if you manage to lose track on those particular invisible paths. So yeah, with that being said, that's all I can really say about this. I could probably guarantee that we actually see the mystery box in the distance, which hopefully we can actually able to obtain from you know, the mystery box over there, so even then though we can actually get inside there. But for the most part it's very straightforward with this particular bonus area, because you know that if you step onto that Thwomp over there, then we would instantly manage to get ourselves a green star, no problem. Oh yeah, besides the fact that during in our own time, oh actually frick, what do I keep on forgetting about this? I guess there's some quite explanation stuff that we can actually discuss upon. First off, we managed to complete ourselves The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages for the Game Boy Color, and even then though, that was about it basically. Like, we got every single heart containers and even every single items in Oracle of Ages. So even then though, the next up on the Legend of Zelda department where we did try to actually play these games from our own time is well, recently we're still working on planning for Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, aka the hardest games ever consist of for the Zelda universe. Or especially notable for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, which we started actually planning for that particular game from our own time. And also for the likes of, we're about to start to be doing Triforce Heroes eventually, so even then, although despite the fact that it only requires multiplayer elements to the mix from the likes of how it does it for the upcoming 3DS game called Kirby Battle Royale for the 3DS. So as far as memories goes, that's all I can say about this. Okay, so before we actually continue on with the next level, we're gonna have to grab ourselves our stamp from the Sprinkly tent. So hopefully we actually got ourselves the last of one of those Sprinkly Princess stamps. So yeah, because you know, after World by World you've already completed it, then this will actually translate to so many Sprinkly Princesses that we've already rescued from the previous worlds. So that's usually entirely related to that. Okay, Deep Water Dungeon. So even then, let's go for Mario again. World Bowser-5. So in this case, in this level suggests the fact that we're going to be swimming underwater for the majority of this level, so even then, no, it's pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, for this part right there is the fact that the water will start to rise, like, either rise it or desync it, so even then, yeah, as far as memories goes, that's all I can really say about this, so, but again, I've easily run out of ideas for commentary-wise, so even then though, that's only because of how the fact there's not much else I can talk through for that news-relatable stuff. Well, at least besides the point that I'm assuming that the other toys, including us as well, already discussed upon the these other stuff we already done talking through for this one point or another, so yeah, that's all I can say about this. So anyway, enough about this all kinds of stuff. The level stamp is actually really easy to get. However though, since we still managed to get ourselves our Cat Bell power-up from our inventory box, it obviously forms of trying to actually getting ourselves these green stars in this level in particular, because we need to most likely going to grab many of these little emphasis on, you know, trying to grab the Cat Bell power-up before we actually decide to actually clarify to actually obtain the green stars themselves. So this is going to be the majority request for Green Stars department to actually get ourselves, well, you know, the Cat Bell power-up. So, you know, like the first Green Star is easy to obtain if you actually keep your cat suit with you, and then the second Green Star is basically the exact same thing, but except the fact that it does almost exactly feels like a reference to something related to level 4-Castle from the likes of you know, the lava deep layer or something like that. I think that's what the level's called. But even then, that again, it has been a while since I actually played this game from time to time. So even then, that you know, because you know we haven't done any of these recording sessions in this game for almost 7 months. So it's been 7 months already. Especially noticeable that I was still trying to actually oh, you gotta be kidding me. But at least we still got ourselves a cat bell with us. So even then, we're still able to use that. And hopefully we can actually get ourselves the third and final green star. We'll actually simply just actually blast out from these little cloud bonus areas. So even then, we can hopefully just try to actually get ourselves the last green star from here. Because yeah, for the majority of this particular power up we can only use to actually get all 3 of the green stars is to simply just use the cat bell power up. So that's about it basically. So anyway though. I guess there are some things I can possibly explain about this, but even then, that apparently though that oh, forget it. Sorry, I'm sorry for a little bit of a commentary wise, as far as this is concerned with this, because you know there's not much else I can say about news relatable stuff. So, but again, I must have complained too much. So even then, why do I complain about this? But even then, we're supposed to have fun commentary and stuff. So. And plus we run out of ideas like jokes and all that stuff, even then yeah. Okay, so there's the item shop from here, so that we can able to actually grab something from here. And there's a slot machine respawning. But we're not gonna go for the slot machine or anything like that because it's a waste of time. But anyways, let's go for World Bowser-6, a beam in the dark. And for this level, we'll definitely have to go for Luigi just because of this particular switch. No, not the Nintendo Switch, but just the actual button switch. So, this is the reason why we need Luigi in this level, because much like how it does it in level 3-4, from as far as Princess Peach only requires, especially noticeable in the really rolling hills from Mario, and even especially noticeable in Toad from World 5-3, and now we actually go into World Bowser 6. That now that it's now time for Luigi's only exclusive button to be active, so that's besides the point. If you actually activated that, then you would able to get yourself a stamp. So that's about it basically. And plus it's more likely a reference to something related to Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion 2. So yeah, as far as I'm really mainly concerned with that. And there's this really easy to spot green star from here, that's only because of this little mirror reflection. So nice little touch to it. So hopefully we can actually get this part done and drained just in time. But even then, as I established earlier, is that this world is easily the longest world in the entire game so far. But even then, that much like how it does it in the Boom Street game, that I'm assuming that Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi did manage to play it ever since last year. From, you know, just trying to celebrate the 100 subscriber special for our YouTube channel so far. But even then, as far as I was mainly concerned with that, but I was really hoping that. This won't be nearly as long as compared to how it does it from Boom Street, as far as Yoshi's Island's gameplay aspect is concerned. But even then, though, still, regardless of anything else for that desirable, this is probably as easily the longest part of the entirety of the playthrough so far. Anyways, quickly dash into this mystery house until we actually get ourselves, or the mystery box rather, until we decide to actually destroy every single boost. Oh yeah, here's the main premise of this level as far as you guys can clearly see. These are beam blocks. Every time you actually grab yourselves a beam block with you, not only does it actually just see the light and everything like that, but also it allows you to actually manage to kill every single ghost. So yeah, it's basically kind of like how it does it from the actual light head from Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Which even then, though, as you can see, we managed to completely destroy these little ghosts. Like, for instance, Peepers, especially Boos, and even bigger Boos as a result too. And we hopefully guarantee we can actually show you guys of this little demonstration. So, the only enemies you can't kill with this particular beam light is the dry bones themselves. So, speaking of dry bones, here's the ones with the pair of wings as far as I'm concerned with this. But anyways, enough of this little jibby jabber at one point or another, but even then, yeah. So, yeah, regardless of anything else for that desirable, actually this level's not that, not as hard as it used to be. The only time it's a little bit tricky is the surrounding of these little dry bones, because as far as I can gather, as soon as it gets like, I would say 5 pair of dry bones, it gets really chaotic, so and destroy this big boo until you get yourselves a third and final green star, or simply if you didn't manage to get yourselves a light, you know, the beam light with us, then we should able to be expected to have the fact that we would able to actually just to wait for him to actually bypass for this particular part. Anyway, that was actually quite a lot of drop going on here, especially noticeable how the fact that we instantly managed to get ourselves a golden flag while actually just dive in basically. Which you know, it's quite fun. Alright, so that's it for that level done, and now we're presumably going to be moving on to the next level, which before we actually get into this particular level right here, we need to actually go ahead and jump into the pipe because there's going to be yet another mystery house we can actually jump into. Which, by the looks of it though, it will actually be most likely focused on. Seriously, I really love the aesthetics of this particular place. Even though, because again, it does remind me of almost related to Tropical Sword, but I digress. Mystery House Floor Climb, which means as far as this World Bowser's Mystery House is concerned, it's most likely focused on cat suits. So, yeah, because as far as you can see, that we're gonna have to constantly doing some wall climbing action. So, yeah, for the most part, this really easy and self-explanatory. So even then, sometimes you do get some repeats every now and then, like the noticeable difference was though is the fact that it did add in a lot of more obstacles to the mix. So, as far as memory is concerned, that's all I can say about this. Okay, so let's grab this thing here. But there are a grand total of 10 green stars to grab. So even then though, unlike how it does it in, I would say for the likes of how it does it in the first mystery house, and even especially noticeable in the second mystery house, it does have like, I'm assuming 10 of one of those green stars. But even then though, in World 6 mystery house, it only contains only 5. So because, you know. So anyways, yeah, as you can see that this particular section right there feels very similar to the likes of last time, even especially noticeable in this. But they did change up the layout for quite a bit, so even then there's not much else to say. So yeah, now the green star is going to be on exactly at the center instead of on the left or the far right. I don't know why that's usually on the center, but hey, at least it's something. So yeah, for the most part, this particular challenge is not that hard, or even not that challenging just to begin with. So yeah, that's all I can say about this. Although the 10th and final one is that you need to be really accurate with your cat floor climbing at that one point, because if you step onto one of those platforms, it'll start to collapse, or even in this case starts to crumble, or even just slice down slowly. So even then though, you have to be really fast. So this is why we actually this is why we actually got ourselves Blue Toad with us, just because of how the fact that he's actually moving really fast. So, yeah, we now managed to get 235 green stars. Jeez, that's gonna be quite a lot of green stars department in this game so far. So, yeah, as far as I can really see about this is happening. Alright, so now we move on to the next level, which is forms of Level Bowser, or in this case, World Bowser-7. I'm assuming it's gonna be called, the Grumblump Inferno. And for this level, we'll definitely have to go for Peach, because this level is quite difficult, because not only this is going to be the lava-based level, but also we're going to have to deal with this particular gimmick, and that was the forms of the tilting movement block itself. Which every time when it goes like a rectangular shape, or especially the solid cube shapes, sometimes that taking notes from Super Mario Sunshine, with these little tons of secret obstacles and what have you, we have to purposely try to be very careful with this, because if you slipped up at one point, you instantly fall off in the lava, and obviously we don't want to touch the lava, because the lava is a really bad obstacle. So yeah, you get the idea what this particular levels is going. So, and plus, besides the point that the levels themselves can get super tough at that one point. So yeah, as far as I can really say about this. So we're just going to be hoping there's going to be a Super Leaf. Alright, we got a Super Leaf at least, so it makes this level a total easier without saying so for myself. So, I don't think there's any point for actually killing these Hammer Bros, because I really don't think they're actually going to be rewarding ourselves everything. So, we'll just give it a pass. Yeah, we'll definitely give it a pass for that one point. I think this is a level that a lot of people seem to have that really hard time on this level whenever they first time playing for this game. I think it's mostly because they're actually trying to grab themselves the green stars, and not to mention the well, the first green star is not that much of a problem, But the stamp, however, though, is the most difficult part about the level because it was right above that little tiny circle platform. So, as long as you're gonna have to deal with the hammer bro first before you're doing that, and then as a result, that particular stamp is easily the hardest stamp to actually obtain from. So, well, not as like hard as compared to when we actually get into the next set of few levels worth knowing for. Even though that can wait. That can definitely wait. So, especially the second green star is not that hard either. It's just simply that the only time it's the only tricky part is to actually dodge a lot of these homing fireballs and whatnot. So, oh, you stupid idiots. Or in this case, cowards. But as long as we actually just kind of have to do that method, in addition to grabbing ourselves our next Super Leaf here, this is probably the hardest part about this level if you actually got messed up at one point, even especially noticeable if you accidentally got slipped off for that one particular angle worth knowing for, then good luck with that, because if you don't manage to like survive from this particular part during time, then you weren't able to die a lot. So there we go, there's our third and final green star. If you somehow miss your timing jump or what have you, that you can't go back for it, because you only have one chance to actually grab yourselves either the stamp, even especially noticeable in the first green star and even the third and final green star. So, and also the same applies to the golden flagpole too. Huh! Come on, make it for the likes of the power of the Super Leaf! Yay! Thankfully though, we did manage to done this level on the first try actually. Yeah, which is really cool. Alright, so, yeah, we're actually now done with that level done. Even though technically this is easily the hardest level in this world so far, probably due to the fact there's going to be a lot of emphasis on trial and error. Screw you level, which, yeah, that's the reason why. Yay! A reference to something related to Fluttershy's quote? Yeah, I'm thinking that's where it's at. So anyways, now we got ourselves our staircase to active. In addition to, we actually got ourselves not only one tent, but also the two circuits tents. Which, I wonder what that actually brings us to this time. I wonder why, but even then though, we'll definitely have to find this out when we actually get into it. So, actually, before we actually continue, let's go ahead and double check in our checklist. So, it looks like we got every single part of it so far, even though despite the fact that we haven't showcased off the actual World Castle's status report. So, right, regardless of such though, then, yeah. Okay, so multi boss blobs on course, so World Bowser-A. And for this boss, and especially noticeable in this particular level, we'll definitely go for Luigi. So even then, we probably guaranteed that how the fact that we're actually going to be saving Mario for the last level. So even then, because you know, he's the only one who managed to save today at all times, as far as I'm concerned with this. So anyway though, let's go ahead and go towards here. Okay, so we have ourselves a different recolored version of this particular clown, and here's another recolored version of this particular Bloppy himself. So, this is what makes the boss itself can get a little bit tougher this time, is the fact that he now actually summons these little particular spread out lasers. So even then, every time he starts to actually jump, or even decide to ground pound or what have you, then he'll now start to spew out those particular laser stuff. So, but again, now I always found this boss to be twice as easier, but even then though, that the only time it makes it a little bit tricky and difficult, it now forms off the lasers themselves. So, yeah, it's not that much of a problem. So even then though, and also as a result, we got ourselves our double cherries as a result to actually clone ourselves, until it makes this entire fight a total pushover. So, anyways, oh wow, multiple Luigis again. Yeah, very similar to Dream Team Brothers, even for Year of Luigi. Which, you know, I was really hoping for that to happen during the next year in 2018, presuming if they're actually going to be announcing Luigi's Mansion 3. Sorry for a bit of a dialogue error or anything like that, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, unfortunately though, our throat is getting a little bit dried up at one point or another, but that's besides the point. So anyways, let's grab ourselves a golden flagpole, as far as we already accomplished that. Sweet victoryness for Luigi. So, you know how the fact that we actually come across into one of those two circuits tents and what have you, it turns out we only have to deal with just only two of them because in order to actually come across into the very final level in this world, we definitely have to beat these both. So even then though, as you can see, we destroyed one, but we can't continue unless if we're actually trying to deal with the second circus tent. So, here we go, into World Bowser-B, Heroistocrat returns. Means there's going to be, you know, the second part of this particular the exact same boss as far as World 3. So, in fact, speaking of such, is that that particular boss that we already fought from before is basically the exactly the same thing as World 6, except it's a little bit tough. So, in this case, in this particular boss we're actually going to be heading to right now, it's going to be a lot more tougher than the likes of the third world. I did not notice there's actually a female counterpart on this little Heroistocrat this time around. Even though I do apologize for how this little mistranslated name, but even then I do apologize for that. Alright, so just like last time, we're gonna have to jump onto her head 3 times. Now I say her because, you know, it's actually a female version, because, you know, eyelashes and everything. So, anyway though. So yeah, apart from that, oh yeah, besides the fact that they did recently manage to upload something a little bit early from the likes of the upcoming 3DS title, which do forms of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Millions already. But even then though, they did manage to already spoil for this particular beginning part already due to, I believe it's probably because of how the fact that, I'm presuming that they actually get the game really early, as far as I might as well actually just concerned about that, but I digress. I believe the only makes this boss a little bit more, oh, okay. We'll definitely take the invincibility frames, and especially we'll take a hit, not only because of how the fact that we need to actually get this world fast and done. So, anyway though, so let's see if we can actually grab some of these coins quickly before we actually decide to actually leave. So we only get 1 up on that particular point. Well, at least just only 1 of them. But anyway, no, enough about little discussion at one point. So let's go ahead and just hit up and just try to grab ourselves a golden flagpole. Well, it's actually really easy with Toad with the Tanuki formation because, you know, you can just simply just hover. So yeah, you get the idea. Alright, nice one for you, Toad. In this case, Blue Toad, for that, what have you. I always kept on calling him Blue Toad because, you know, it's very much a reference to the old school version of Super Mario Bros. 2 on the NES. Well, usually in Super Mario Bros. 2 in the All-Stars version doesn't count though. So anyway, so as soon as we actually deal with those 2 circuit tents, we're now able to actually access to the true final level in this world. So, in this case, the main worlds, or the main levels of the game. So, now before we move on, there's going to be a secret alcove over there, most like in World 1, which actually leads us to the item shop itself. Which, let's see what's in here. Of course, we got a jackpot, so that means we're definitely going to take in the Super Bell power-up. So even then, we'll definitely nab it. And before we actually get into the actual final level itself, and also switching it to Mario now, but there's going to be another secrecy there, that first time players who actually did not come across into that at all. But if you do found this well-hidden pipe over there, and you should be able to get yourselves an extra 1-up. So, nice little distraction, both for that point right there, but I digress. So in order to actually unlock this level, is by simply you have to collect 170 green stars, which at this point that we actually got ourselves 70 plus green stars requirement at the moment, so I digress. So here we go, folks, on to the true final level in World Bowser, and now see forms of World Bowser-Castle, the Great Tower of Bowser World. Oh jeez. Look how tall this tower was. You can see there's different colors onto the skies. I think that's actually represented for those sprinkly princesses. So, hey, his car has now been destroyed after defeating this particular Bowser car ever since in the previous world, which is in World Castle. But I digress. So, as you expected from any other last levels of any 3D Mario games at this point, basically this one makes this level a little bit tougher now, is the forms of these little falling fireballs coming from the skies. I believe the majority of this is probably due to the fact that the volcano is erupting, just like it does in Flame Core from Sonic 06. But anyways, the first green star is very simple to obtain. It's by simply you have to go from in here, and you can able to actually go back up with it with either the catsuit power up like we just obtained it from earlier ago, or simply just actually find yourself the invisible block until you actually decide to realize how the fact that you were able to actually get yourself back up. So the second green star, we need to actually knock out those particular bullies, as you can see. There are a grand total of only 4 bullies that we need to actually knock down for. Because if you do, then you would able to actually get yourselves the next green stars. So even then, if you're probably wondering what the third and final green star is going to be located, well, it's very similar to the ones in New Super Mario Bros. Wii final boss. That's usually back in that game, that the final boss did actually holds up the third and final star coin. But I'm guessing that the third and final green star in this level, which actually holds us to the final boss itself. Which, even then, we're going to definitely guarantee by just as that. So, let's see if we can actually grab it quickly. There we go. Alright, so I think we should be sorted for this point until we actually decide to take down Bowser for the another time, because even though this wasn't exactly the final time we're going to be doing with Bowser for the time, because, you know, we still got Super Mario Odyssey to be released on Nintendo Switch. So, but at least I'm still looking forward to it as far as this point in time. Alright, so here we are at the actual Great Tower of the Bowser world. So even then, we still got some raining effects, just like how it does it in the likes of Super Mario 3D Land. So, yeah, let's go ahead and walk straight forward, or in this case, catwalk towards the tower. And hopefully we'll deal with Bowser once and for all. Oh, I did not notice he hasn't got himself a cat power-up with him. Oh my lord! Look at him! He's now a cat version of Bowser. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the true final boss in Super Mario 3D World. And now see forms of the cat formation of Bowser, or better known for a true name of that particular final boss. And that guy was actually known as Meowser, which means meow and Bowser combined into one. So basically, it's nothing to do with actually fighting him. Instead, it's more accurately similar to the ones in Super Mario 3D Land. It's basically a chase sequence. So basically, what you have to do is the fact that, or actually, before I get into that, it's really easy to actually get yourselves the third and final green star, because as far as I can tell, it's actually pretty easy to spot the actual green star ring. In addition to actually obtaining those 8 green coins in the process. So, anyway though, so this might actually be a really cool climax as far as I can see, because not only that, in the second phase of this particular fight, that you probably see why in just a moment, but I digress. I really love this music too. It's probably the most intense music in this level, probably due to the orchestra and all that stuff. I guess there's one thing I need to point out though, is the fact that thanks to the interview, or in this case behind the scenes of My Little Pony the movie in 2017 version, the music choice this time around though is the forms of the orchestra, so even then though, that I'm assuming it might actually match up to the Disney movies and all that stuff, or even sometimes Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, or even Super Mario 3D World for that matter, so even then though, definitely can't wait until how that music is going to turn out to be in the actual film itself. So I digress. Oh my lord, they decided to clone himself! Yeah, which not only that, which he might also actually spawn in multiple versions of Mowser's as well, so yeah, this might be really intense actually, so anyway though. And of course you get a checkpoint right there, just in case if you accidentally died from that particular first section, then you have to redo the whole entire level again if you manage to screw it up. But even though this is the only checkpoint you're able to actually come across into, so you have to wait here just in case if that particular cloud platform will disappear after when the Mowser is going to be actually able to actually climb onto the wall, then you should be safe for that department. So I believe this phase is actually probably the hardest part about this particular section. That's only because of how the fact that you need to be very careful with those particular obstacles and all that stuff. So, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But at least we almost, oh god, oh come on, get up. Phew. That was close. We almost attempt to die on that one point, especially in this this particular death situation like that. But at least we managed to survive by lucky. So anyway, in this final part is that we need to actually go onto the staircase and then hopefully try to actually go for bed, trying to actually dodge a lot of clones of Mowser's. Seriously, how much clones is he able to create? I'm presuming it's more accurately 10 or more. If I can gather, it'll probably be 10 or 15, I don't know. So anyways, here's a giant version of the power block, so even then, all you have to do is basically, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So simply hit this thing 4 times and kabam! And there he goes. There goes Meowser, or Bowser for that matter, and he's blasting off again! And then he enigmatically just managed to get ourselves the fireworks from his face. And we should able to actually save all 7 of those sprinkly princess one last time by the likes of actually defeating Meowser. So, there we go, the peace is fully restored. But before we actually end things off at that one point, not only do we actually get ourselves our additional time limit edition, but also I believe there's going to be a level stamp onto that, particularly at the very end of the level actually. Yeah, as you can see, there's actually a level stamp in this, so let's go ahead and obtain that. And here's the last flagpole that we can hopefully try to get a golden flagpole to begin with, so I'm just really hoping for that. Like for a long jump for the win or something like that. Yeah, which I was really expecting to hoping that's gonna be happening, so... And we failed. Damn it! Oh well, at least we can only do that at the very end of this video, at least, so unfortunately though, we have to replay that level again, so you can end up that, yeah. So yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for Super Mario 3D Land as far as the main game is concerned, or in this case, the main story. So, yeah, that's about it. And of course, as you expected, there's gonna be some staff credits. As you expected. But the staff credits this time around are the forms of this particular clear pipe sequence. Unfortunately, don't take control of this particular staff credits, unlike how it does in Super Mario 3D Land or Super Mario Galaxy 2, and even especially noticeable in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. 2, and New Super Mario Bros. U, and New Super Luigi U, which I was really hoping that will happen again and during that Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. But I'm really not 100% sure about this yet until next month. So, anyway though, but even then, we're not going to talk about the overall of the game already, because even then though, I believe if I've heard correctly, there's still going to be more to it than that. Like, I believe they're going to be sending us a new world in the mix as far as I'm concerned with this, before we actually completely done with the game, as far as I can see what this is going, but I digress. Man, I really love this particular version of this particular staff credit sequence here, not only because of the colors, but also the music as well. It's so energetic. Plus these little tags, they do kind of feel exactly identical to the likes of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Wii U, but except the fact that you do have Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad this time, so yeah, that's all I can say about this. Oh, look at Bowser, got trapped inside in this giant jar. He's like probably thinking that, let me out, you idiots! And also same applies to the Boom Boom and Pom Pom already. Even though somehow for some strange reasons that we did not come across into Boom Boom in World Bowser for some reason. So why did they actually put it in Pom Pom instead of like just, you know, combine with Boom Boom and Pom Pom to begin with? But whatever. So anyways, that was it basically for Super Mario 3D World. Now, obviously we're not getting endings and the Let's Play off just yet, because as far as I've heard, much like in Super Mario Galaxy 1 and Super Mario Galaxy 2, and even especially noticeable in Super Mario 3D Land, there's going to be more to it, like there's still more things to come. So, yeah, as far as I can see how this is this. And we're back to Mushroom Kingdom, in addition to those a whole bunch of fireworks, and everything else should be bright and joy. What's that particular planet up this space on from the top left corner? Does it look very familiar? It appears to be more accurately Comet Observatory, it seems like. Oh yeah, your best times for completing courses is now being displayed, which just means you don't have to die on these any levels. So Fast Ghosts, me characters will now come and visit courses now. So yeah, there we go. And the level stamp on this particular level is Bowser himself. So yeah, that was it basically. So yeah, tune us next time on Let's Play Super Mario 3D World. It's the fact that we're going back into this particular World 1 map to see what's going on in here. So even then, we'll definitely have to find things out during that time period. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas. So see you guys then. Okay, the reason why I had to come back in here, it's probably because of, you know, the golden flagpole, so thankfully though, we got ourselves the cat power-up with us, so that makes this entirety of the method super easy, so... Anyway, so tune us next time on Let's Play Super Mario 3D World. It's the fact that we're going to be, I'm assuming we're going to be moving on to the next, new world, actually. But even then, we'll definitely have to find things out until we actually approach into one of them. So yeah, this is me, Sonic, and Sylvester here from the Moxie Toys. And until then, we'll see you guys during October sometime, so see you guys then.